Hey guys, it's Albert. Today I'm coming to you with another DIY home repair video. This is not really home repair, it's more of installation. So I've got a lot of outdoor lighting installed and I am missing one right over here, which we'll be installing today. These are outdoor landscape lights that I found on Amazon. They replaced these that are basically a little $2 solar. They were trash, right? So these are fantastic. They're 5 watts, they're LEDs. They're just so much better. I purposely left these wires kind of exposed. I mean, they're hidden up underneath the fence. And I ran out of lights, so I left enough slack in the wire to install another one going forward. And there goes the last one. And some of these little solar ones are still up. They're trash. Alright guys, here's a little preview of these 5 watt LED lights. These are landscape lighting. Found these on Amazon. And these, the blue, brown, doesn't really matter. There's no positive or negative on these. They work in both directions. Here, let me show you. Right there, the blue is on the positive. Now I'm going to put the brown on the positive. Check it out. They're crazy bright. I love these little things. And they're not too pricey. They're actually cheaper than what Home Depot's got. Tough metal, rugged construction. Before we begin, definitely want to unplug this. For safety's sake, definitely don't want to be installing this with the power on by any means. Even though it's 12 volt, I may not get hurt. It could short out the transformer and that might be a problem. So if yours is anything like mine, I had to end up taking off the bulb so I get the bracket mounted. Then I'll just put this back on. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is cut it right in half. Your situation might be different, but mine, I happen to have pulled the wire already that way. So I'll go ahead and cut that in half, and then we need to strip back just a little bit of this wire so we get the wire nut on, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now the light already came with these stripped, and they're not stripped enough, so we'll take just a little bit more off the top, just so we have a good connection. There we go. Now these landscape lights came with their own wire nuts, and you can crimp them on, so I guess they're a little bit different from wire nuts. And it also came with its own screws, so we're gonna go ahead and put these together. And now we got to make sure that we put the positive and positive, negative and negative. If it's alternating current, it won't really matter, but you still want to keep the correct one in mind. Now, since these lights are not, they'll take AC or DC. Look at that, we still need a little bit more. Since they're AC and DC, it doesn't really matter which direction they're going in. They'll take whatever 12 volts you give them. But I have all my other lights this way. We'll give it another one just for good measure. Now this is an optional step. You do not have to do this, but if you happen to have the electrical tape and you want to tape it up, that's totally up to you. I personally don't want any water or anything getting inside of mine, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the electrical tape. Not that this is waterproofing or anything, but I feel like it adds just an extra shield. Either way, it's going to be up underneath the 2x4, so it's not going to matter a whole lot. but I sleep better at night knowing that it's there. This one up in there. Make sure it's all the way in. And give it a good crimp. And one more just for good measure. You don't want to overdo the crimp though. Last thing you want to do is mess it up. And again, another optional step. I like to put the black tape. Just for good measure. Do it nice and tight so we can give it a good seal. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide that in the back. And I'll be using my stapler not to hold the main wires, but to hold these, you know, like the supply wire. And try to get it nice and centered. Put it through there. So that's it, folks. Next thing we got to do is test it to see if it worked. And there it is. Works like a charm. It's that easy, folks. Alright folks, this video was brought to you by electrifiedsurfaces.com. As a safety message, I should remind you that even though this is low voltage, the stuff that it's hooked up to is higher voltage, right? There is an element of danger with electricity because it can be hazardous. So always make sure that you know what you're doing, that you're qualified to do it, or have some kind of competency in that field. Otherwise, call the experts at electrifiedsurfaces.com. They're there for all your electrical needs, residential, commercial, and even low voltage landscape lighting. So call electrifiedsurfaces.com.